We begin tonight with a dangerous situation. Hazardous air quality alerts from the Northeast to Chicago and as far south as Atlanta. Health officials are warning tens of millions of Americans in more than a dozen states to remain indoors. New York tops the list of cities with the worst air quality in the world as Manhattan's famous skyline disappeared behind a thick fog that made America's largest city look like the surface of Mars. And then take a look at this on this map from the EPA. The darker the area, the more hazardous the air is to your health. Well, how dangerous is it? Well, if you are outside right here in the nation's capital, that's equivalent to smoking a cigarette an hour. And the smoke from those Canadian wildfires led to ground stops and flight delays at New York area airports. Plus, the matchup between the Yankees and the White Sox was postponed tonight. CBS's Lilia Luciano starts us off tonight from an eerie New York City where the mayor told residents to wear masks if they go outside. Good evening, Lilia.
That's right, Nora. Good evening. What explains this eerie scene? Why this skyline disappears is tiny, tiny particles that are saturated in the air. Those particles are so small that they can go into your lungs and potentially cause long-term damage if your body cannot expel them naturally. That's why the state of New York is giving out 1 million N95 masks like this one and recommending that people use them.
Today, the sun rose over the Northeast, shrouded in smoke. Haze covering Manhattan skyline and bridges and the Washington Monument in D.C. Smoke was seen as far south as Tennessee and even from space.
It is absolutely mesmerizing and quite frightening.
It's from an intense start to Canada's wildfire season, fueled by high temperatures and dry conditions. The total number of acres destroyed the first half of the year there, almost 12 times the average.
This is potentially deadly if people are out, particularly if you're in one of those high-risk groups, the very young, the very old, and people who have chronic medical conditions.
Time-lapse video shows downtown Manhattan this morning. By mid-afternoon, the thick smoke cast an eerie glow, making the skyline barely visible.
So if you're not able to breathe and oxygenate as well, anything like a heart attack or a stroke, you might be at high risk for. An N95 mask, if fitted and worn correctly, will really reduce the risk.
School districts in the Northeast canceled outdoor activities today.
This may be the first time we've experienced something like this on this magnitude.
To protect yourself, health officials advise staying indoors, closing your windows, and using an air purifier if you have one. And if you're driving, recirculate the air in your car.
What does this mean for hospitals?
Hospitals could see a big influx of patients, people dealing with asthma attacks and some of the other complications from this air pollution.